Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Donald Trump's press secretary, Sean Spicer, has resigned. It follows the US president's appointment of a former Wall Street banker as his new head of communications. Mr. Spicer has been much lampooned in the past as he found himself trying to defend the president against a sceptical press. One of Hollywood's biggest stars appeared regularly on US television impersonating him. Our chief correspondent, Gavin Hewitt, has more.
A dramatic day at the White House. Sean Spicer, the White House press secretary and one of the faces of the Trump administration, has resigned. Spicer has been involved in a number of high-profile controversies. Early on, he found himself having to defend the crowd size at Donald Trump's inauguration compared to that of Barack Obama.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe.
The pictures clearly suggested otherwise. And then there were Sean Spicer's comments about Hitler and the use of chemical weapons that drew international criticism.
We didn't use chemical weapons in World War II. You know, you had someone as despicable as Hitler who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons.
Sean Spicer found himself under close scrutiny from Donald Trump, who prizes good on-camera performances. In particular, President Trump began looking for a strong defender as his problems mounted, in particular with the investigation into whether there was collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia during last year's election. So today, the president appointed Anthony Scaramucci, a Wall Street financier, as his communications director. Shortly after, Sean Spicer abruptly resigned, suggesting some turmoil inside the White House. In recent times, there were indications that Sean Spicer was being sidelined. He was giving fewer and fewer on-camera briefings. But his allies say there was a deeper problem. He was out there defending White House policy, only for the president himself to issue a tweet later that seemed to change the facts. Today's moves indicate that Donald Trump, under pressure, sees the need to have an able communicator who will both defend and fight for his presidency. Gavin Hewitt, BBC News, Washington.
Now, he faced a rough ride from the start. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer admonished the press on his first full day in the job over their coverage of the crowd size at Donald Trump's inauguration. Tonight, he's resigned after 6 turbulent months fending off reporters and becoming the butt of satirical jokes. In the last few minutes, he said the White House was at a point where Trump could benefit from a clean slate. Here's our Washington correspondent, Kylie Morris.
He came out swinging straight after the inauguration. The shiny new White House spokesman wanted to set a few things straight, starting with how you can't always believe what you see.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
It was a rough ride from then on, a daily performance that became a ratings hit for the networks as Spicer evolved into the president's chief salesman. On occasion, he'd get pep talks from the boss just before he entered the lion's den. Spicer scolded.
And where was your passion and where was your concern when they all said that there was no connection to Russia?
Spicer joked.
If the president puts Russian salad dressing on his salad tonight, somehow that's a Russian connection. No, at some point, report the facts.
Spicer parried.
Wait, how do you know all this? How do you seem to be such an expert in this?
This has been looked at, Sean.
How do you know it's been looked at?
Spicer promised not to lie.
I'm going to come out here and tell you the facts as I know them, and if we make a mistake, I'll do our best to correct it.
All of it a bounteous gift for the satirically minded.
Now I'd like to begin today by apologizing on behalf of you to me.
A shouty Melissa McCarthy on Saturday Night Live simplified the complexities.
In his fight against radical Muslims.
And weaponized the spokesman podium against the press corps. Spicer's gaffe-prone defences of the president became a bellwether for the state of the White House itself. The Washington Post was forced to correct that he was among the Bushes rather than in them the night reporters tried to quiz him about the sacking of James Comey. These days, the White House daily briefings are mainly audio-only experiences. No cameras allowed. A noteworthy retreat from scrutiny by a White House that prefers tweets. After all, they don't demand follow-up questions. It will be up to the new communications director, whose appointment apparently prompted Spicer's resignation, to decide how to spin the message from here on in. Sean Spicer, at least, is free.
He was a one-man media battle tank, the provider of alternative facts.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period, both in person and around the globe. This kind of dishonesty in the media, the challenging that bringing about our nation together, is making it more difficult. There's been a lot of talk in the media about the responsibility to hold Donald Trump accountable. And I'm here to tell you that it goes two ways. We're going to hold the press accountable as well.
And tonight he's gone. Sean Spicer, the president's official spokesman and bulldog-in-chief, resigned from the White House after Mr. Trump hired a new communications chief, Anthony Scaramucci, as Mr. Spicer's boss, something that Mr. Spicer found hard to stomach. Now, let's admit it, Mr. Spicer may have broken the first cardinal rule of comms, don't become the story, but some people are going to miss him and his unique approach. Tamara Keith is the NPR White House correspondent and joins me from America. Good evening, Tamara. Thanks very much for joining us. Tamara, can I just start off with that first point? If nothing else, Mr. Spicer was great sport and gave you lot in the press lobby in the White House plenty to talk about. You are going to miss him, aren't you?
Yeah, sure, sure. He definitely got good ratings, as the president said in his statement bidding Sean Spicer farewell. The White House press briefings became must-see TV. The Saturday Night Live skits that came out of it, and then also there were quite a few viral videos, including one with the faces of correspondents in the room reacting to some of the things that Spicer said. Some of us would rather have not been part of those viral videos, but such is life.
Tamara, why do you think that the president chose him to have that role, given that he did that role in a controversial and very different way from his predecessors?
Well, that's exactly why the president would have chosen him to do that role. Sean Spicer, from when he was at the Republican Party, and he showed an incredible amount of loyalty and an incredible ability to speak up for then candidate Trump and then President Trump in a way that was sometimes out of sync with reality, like the clip you played about the crowd size. Sort of a formative moment for Spicer was during the Republican convention. Melania Trump gave a speech that it turns out was strikingly similar to a speech that First Lady Michelle Obama gave at another convention. And there were all of these questions of whether it was plagiarism. And Sean Spicer came out and said, well, I think that Sparkle Pony from My Little Pony also said something similar. Was that plagiarism? A day later, or not even a day later, he was completely contradicted when the Trump campaign put out a statement from the person who wrote the speech saying, yeah, I'm sorry, it was sort of inspired by, lifted from Michelle Obama. But Spicer, again and again and again, has come out and defended the president. And, in the face of hours or days later, President Trump then contradicting him.
Tell us a little bit about Mr. Scaramucci. I was watching him today, his first press briefing, a lot more emollient in tone. He seemed to be much more not trying to back. He said you, the media, were a little bit biased rather than tremendous enemies of the state. Is he going to be a more emollient figure? Is Mr. Trump showing that he wants to change tone and that battle with the media might be eased back on?
That is really not clear from this first moment. It's also not clear that Scaramucci is going to be the person doing the briefings. When he came out, he announced that Sarah Huckabee Sanders will be the new press secretary. She has been conducting a lot of the briefings, as you probably haven't noticed, but they've been off camera a lot lately instead of being on camera, and she's been conducting them. The thought is that she will continue conducting briefings. Scaramucci's role is supposed to be one of strategy. You know, what he really brings is a loyalty to the President of the United States. In that briefing that he did today, time and time again, he said, "I love this president, and I love this team." And he doesn't bring a lot of communications experience. I mean, he certainly is good on television. He's done a lot of TV. He's been out on cable defending the president as sort of a private citizen. But his background is in finance, and most of his political experience has been as a political donor.
Thanks so much, Tamara, for joining us.
You're welcome.
I've been getting